Hey guys, this is Crooked Vids and I'm Vigarg. Today I'll be showing you how to turn your stacks of saplings into your industrial craft energy and get some wood on the side. Keep in mind this is with the Feed the Beast mod pack, but you can also do this if you have buildcraft, forestry, and industrial craft installed. Now let's get started. As you can see on your screen, we have three areas. The first is where all of our power to run the machines is getting generated. The second is where our saplings are being gathered, and the third is where our saplings actually get turned into energy. Now this all happens automatically, and the only thing that you have to do for, I guess, maintenance would be to refuel the fuel chest and refuel the fertilizer chest, which they run out very seldom, so it's actually not too maintenance heavy. Now let's get straight into the nitty-gritty and go into our first area, the power supply. Now, as mentioned before, this is the first area of the three areas of this machine. And this is basically the power supply, the most important part of this whole build. Now, what the power supply does is, well, it supplies power to all the machines that need it. And that really entails three machines: our Arboretum, our logger, and our fermenter. Those three machines need power, and we're providing them all with power. So let's just start over here. These two chests would be in your house, the fuel chest and the fertilizer chest. The fertilizer chest is, of course, filled with fertilizer, and the fuel chest is filled with anything you want: coal, coal coke, wood, charcoal, planks, anything that burns. You may not want to use saplings, though, because we're using those for fuel, so yeah. But yeah, I'm using coal coke here because the Feed the Beast mod pack comes with the mod Railcraft, and with Railcraft you have the ability to make coal coke, which is 4 times more powerful than actual coal. So I'm using it because this is all obviously spawned in, but this is very viable for survival. It really doesn't take all that many diamonds and hard to get resources. So basically, we're just going to deal with the fuel chest for now, and we'll leave the fertilizer chest for a little bit later. But the fuel chest, of course, has all your fuel. And we have a redstone engine right here that is pumping out the fuel with the help of this wooden transport pipe. And it basically splits off into 3 different ways. It splits off to this chest, that chest, and this chest, right over there. So and it randomly splits it, so it's pretty equal. So as you can see, they're just splitting out where they want to go. Right here, they're all seeming to want to go right for some reason. Okay, whatever. They're doing their thing, and they go into this chest. And basically, these chests get coal coke or whatever fuel you want in them. And then these redstone engines pump it out with the help of this wooden transport pipe. And then they decide if they want to go left or right. Again, this is randomly. And they go into these steam engines, Stirling engines. I mean, you can call them whatever. They look the same and they do the same thing. So if we look over here, this Stirling engine, or steam engine, again, whatever, it's full. So let's see what happens to this coal coke. It drops off, and it goes into this obsidian pipe, which automatically picks it up and recycles it and puts it back into the system. Everything is directed in to the same way with these iron pipes, which is pretty awesome. And they all go right back, as you can see the number was going up, into this chest. So no coal is wasted. So let's just go ahead and start going into area numero 2. This is the Arboretum's power supply. And what the Arboretum is it is a forestry machine that basically, how should I say this? It plants trees. It basically plants the trees that get harvested by the logger, which we'll get to in just a moment. Now, the Arboretum, it needs power, which is why we have that one little pod of 2 steam engines right over there, and it powers the Arboretum. But it also needs 2 other things. It needs humus, and it needs saplings. It needs humus because that is what it plants the saplings on. As you can see, it plants the saplings on the humus. Now, humus can actually be made, okay, like this. This is how humus is made. You put fertilizer in the middle and you surround it by dirt, and you get 8 humus for every one of these you do it for. And now I'll get into more detail about how you make fertilizer a bit later, but that's basically the gist of it. You just put a bunch of humus in here. and it basically puts down the humus and then puts the saplings above that. You need the saplings for obvious reasons, so you can plant the trees. And the sand, you do not need to put sand in it. Sand is actually a byproduct of what this whole build does. So I guess you could say you get electricity, wood, and sand from it. But again, sand is, it just happens. So we can take some of that out. Now, the next thing is the logger. Now the logger does not have an interface like the Arboretum has. You can't open anything. I'm right clicking like nuts, so can't do anything. But oh my, the the logger is powered just like the Arboretum with the exact same power supply right there. And whoops, and it goes underneath all this humus, and ba-doom, it powers the logger. Now this logger cuts down the trees that have just grown, like this one right here. If you watch it for a second, it'll start being chopped down. And right when I say it, it's not going to chop down, is it? Okay, let's just give it a second. Whatever, it'll chop down soon. But anyway, it'll start chopping that down. Oh, wait, is that like another tree that was chopping down? Maybe. Whatever, screw it. Anyway, this logger will chop down the tree, and it'll put the wood in here. As you can see, oh, there it goes. It's going to chop it down right there. And it's coming out, the wood is coming out of the logger through the sides. Wood will only come out through the sides, not the bottom, not the top, only through the sides. And so it's coming in through here. We have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, almost 14 and a half stacks of wood, which is pretty incredible. So yeah, and saplings will only come out of the top. They may come out of the bottom. I'm not really sure, but just use the top. So as you can see, we have a sapling coming out of the top, and it can choose to either go left or right. If it goes right, it's being recycled into the Arboretum, which means you never have to fill up the saplings after you filled them up once. But if they go to the left, they go in, or they go to make fuel. So this is the third area, the third and final area of our little thing. Now this is the fermenter. Now it looks confusing, but trust me, I'll explain it and it'll be pretty awesome. So first thing we're going to need is we're going to need water. Now you may be saying, dude, I'm in a desert. There's like no water. There's like two little tiny crappy dabby little lakes that suck. Well, don't worry. If you don't have an ocean or a river, heck, if you even do have an ocean or a river, don't use them. Just use this. An infinite water supply. That's maybe a little bit different than what you've seen. But we're using one here. And how you make it is, well, I'll show you. Oh, and I've made this a couple times because I've tried making this video several times and I'm failing at it. So hopefully it's going good so far. So yeah, as you can see, it's a 3x3 by 2. It's too deep for a very specific reason. And what you want to do, I'm using spawn water, but this will work with buckets of water too. Fill every block with water. I don't care if it looks done or not. Fill it all up. Then use the sides. Let's see if we can do this before the sun sets. And right there. And now we got this little thing. No, we're not going to be able to. Why can't I? So as you can see, we have this thing like right in the middle of this design. Now we need to get rid of this because as it is right now, it will not be an unlimited power supply. So let's just go down here and place a block straight in the middle and get rid of it, and bam, it's working. Now what would you do now? Well, first you would do this and that, and then place your pump right there, right where I placed my cobblestone. Okay, and then after that you would go right here, and again your pump would be right here, and then you just you'd encircle the pump like so. Your pump would be here, and you'd be able to place a redstone engine right here, right here, right here, and right here on each side of the pump, and then a lever here and a lever here. So each lever is powering 2 redstone engines, and they connect that with waterproof cobblestone pipe right into the top of the fermenter right here, and you're set to go. Our next thing is fertilizer. So let's go back to area 1, and I'll explain that. So we're finally back to this fertilizer chest, which is where the magic happens. But first we got to know how to make fertilizer, because you need fertilizer to make hummus. You need fertilizer just to power the fermenter. So let's learn how to make that real quick. First we're going to need some sand and some apatite. I already have some apatite, so let's go ahead and spawn us in some sand. So let's put some sand on top and on bottom, and then put some apatite right in the middle. Bam. You get 8 fertilizer per 1 apatite and 2 sand. So that's pretty good. So let's just go ahead and just smack dab it right here into this chest. So just like the fuel, this redstone engine pumps out all the fertilizer through this wooden pipe, and it goes into the stone pipe. And the reason it's stone pipe is so that it does not mix with the cobblestone pipe, because stone and cobblestone, they just will not connect no matter what. And so you can make it a little bit more compact. So we're going to run it down, and it's going into the back right here. As you can see, we're full on fertilizer. So it's just dropping off and going into this obsidian pipe, and it's being recycled back to the fertilizer chest. One other thing is that there are saplings and apples in here. The reason there are saplings is because the Arboretum is full of saplings, and the fermenter is actually full of saplings. So they tend to kind of get just stuck in there, like these. And apples get stuck in there because I didn't really make apples. I didn't have them go anywhere, so they're kind of just stuck in the system. But I mean, it ain't too bad. You don't get apples like constantly, so it wouldn't really be a problem. So is that all we need? No. Oh, well, saplings come from right over there, of course. From the what's it called, the logger sends them over here through this pipe under here. Now, the only thing that we need now is a power supply, and just like the logger and Arboretum, our power supply comes right over here from 2 steam/Stirling engines. This is the power supply right here that powers it. So we just follow this condensation pipe. Condensation pipe. I mean conduction pipe. Down here, it powers the fermenter and it starts making biomass. Now this redstone engine right here gets the biomass and it pumps it on down to the biogenerator, which turns it into industrial craft energy, which as you can see over here is almost 950,000 EU. Now biomass alone creates 4,000 EU per bucket, but what if you want a little bit more? Well, what you can do is use this. What it's called is a still, and basically you would have the fermenter here, but you'd add an extra step to this chain. You would pump the biomass from the fermenter into this still, and it would go into this slot right here. You also would need another power supply, so you need another 2 steam engines over here in the same setup as this, and it would basically just send it on down over here, and it would power the still, and it would turn this biomass into something called biofuel, and it would then go into the biogenerator, which actually requires no energy to run, and then would put the energy into this MFSU or bat box or whatever you want to put it in, MFE or whatever. Now, the reason you would do this is because, as stated before, biomass alone is 4,000 EU per bucket. Biofuel is 10,000 EU per bucket. So that's 2.5 times more efficient. I believe my math there is right. And so that's pretty awesome, but I decided not to do it for this build. You can if you want to. It's not too hard. And so yeah, that's basically the whole build. If you like the video, consider subscribing to Crooked Vids. We put out lots of videos, or we're going to try to put out a lot of videos. It's me and my friend Fight Seeker, and we are both trying our best to put out a good amount of videos, but this is actually our first video, I believe, unless he's put up something while I'm making this. And so, you know, we'll do some stuff together and some stuff alone, and we'll just upload it, and, you know, you guys can watch it and see whatever you want. Like the video if this helped you or if you built it, and if you have any problems, put it down in the comments, and then I'll answer it so that maybe it'll answer other people's questions. So I want to thank you guys for watching it, and I will see you guys later in the next coming not episodes, but videos.